It was crazy. Like people were like, yeah. That's kind of how it is nowadays.
Go to jail that weekend or not go to jail that weekend.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Did you ever hear about me punching that dude on stage?
Yes, but they haven't.
Okay, we'll get there.
No, go for it. No, we want to hear it.
Oh, go for it. Shit. All right. Yeah. Well, so there was a year, I think it was like the first year of Hell City, maybe the second year of Hell City. I'm pretty sure it was the first because I was still real nervous with like the legalities of the hotel and putting on my first event and all that. And Oliver Peck and all these other tattooers, I forget who else, were going around, and there's this specific guy that was getting punched by everybody, like in the hotel rooms, as like a way for him to make like $50. $50, you punch me in the eye. I wasn't around for that night, but the next day came to me and they're like, "Hey, Durb, we got this guy that's been making money all night, and he wants to see if he can get on the main stage with you and have you punch him for to make money." And I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, I might get sued, or the Hyatt, could have a problem with it and stuff like that.
You make a lot of good business choices. I don't think this is leading into one of them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, this is my first show, man. Like, let's maybe not. So what I did is I go, okay, let's wait till it's just all the tattooers left over. A lot of the crowd's gone, so nobody professionally can complain or anything like that. So at the end, Sunday, the guy got up on stage. He's already all like kind of bruised up and stuff. And all the tattooers have been hearing about it, so they all come to the main stage. And then Jeff, the announcer's like, all right, let's see some money fly up here for this guy. He's about ready to take a punch from Durb. And, and I'm not joking, man. Like, oh, dude, he made like $500 in like a minute.
Well, there you go.
It was crazy. Like people were like, yeah. Like Bob Tyrell threw like $100 up on there. Like it was, everybody was waiting for it. So anyways, we get the kid up there. I kind of like face off with him. And Jeff is on the microphone. He's like, all right, we're going to count down from 10, and then Durb's going to punch this guy, yada, yada. And so Jeff's like, all right, you guys ready? And I was across from him, and he's like, 10, 9, 8. And right at 8, I go, pow! And just clocked the dude like so hard. It like kind of buckled him. And then I got on top of him, and I got him into an arm bar, like a jiu-jitsu arm bar. And that was like, that's 2002. So not a lot of people saw that stuff going on or whatever.
Sure.
And Josh Ford, I didn't know he had trained, or I didn't know kind of about his like training and martial arts and stuff. He came up to me and was like, how did you know that? Like, how'd you get that arm? I was like, just a little bit of training here and there. And then that's when I kind of like got closer with Josh, and we talked about MMA. Yeah. He went on to do some just amazing stuff with it.
Yeah. He did really awesome stuff. He did, man. He's he's been a kind of like he's always been my friend, but like he's that dude like in the background, like whenever you're trying to make like life choices or like, be like, man, I need to get back in shape, or I need to take my diet seriously. Like he's like the main guy in the industry that like I know that you can always go to for that. You know what I mean? So his natural transition into being a life coach and being, an instructor and nutritionist at a super high level was kind of normal for him,
Yeah.
Because now more and more people. Right. Well, now more and more people are taking that seriously. I mean, look at all the people in this industry that were like, super, super unhealthy or morbidly obese that all like took it real seriously. People like that lost tons of weight. Your Nate Beavers, your Joe Caps, like, you know what I mean? Tons of people. Dino Cook.
It's becoming more of an issue in tattooing nowadays, is like the health of the tattooer is definitely something that's being questioned and looked at and taught kind of. So like the next generation kind of doesn't suffer the way this generation did. And here's what I look at too, is like the really old generation, they weren't sitting the hours of it like a modern tattooer is. Like nowadays people are creating works of art on back pieces, and they'll tattoo for 10 to 12 hours a day like I used to do, until it totally damaged my back and I got nerve damage and stuff from it. So I think by people becoming more healthy, it's bringing a different awareness to tattooing, which is, it's awesome,
Right.
And me speaking from like experience of having actual like nerve damage, arthritis in my spine, things like that going on nowadays, I enjoy teaching and kind of educating some people. Even the guys in my shop, I kind of evaluate how they're sitting and kind of just talk to them about it.
Right. And you've always maintained, I mean, you like most people, like all of us, you have your ups and downs in fitness and stuff like that, but you've always maintained a pretty high level of like, self-awareness, taking care of yourself, taking care of your physique and all of that stuff. So
yeah, I think and it's funny because I've kind of always stayed fit, always skated, or was always active, I'd always done like different martial arts growing up and stuff like that. So I just kind of naturally had that to me. And I like that it kind of influences people around me or people even online that see me, you know, going out there and staying healthy at my age too. I'm like 45 now. I've been tattooing for 28 years. So it's kind of, definitely, that's a long time on your back and your hips.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah,
and not just in tattooing, just in general, just in all the aspects. And the other thing, like for sure, is not just the length of time that you guys will, you know, be working, but, you know, the lifestyles outside of work, they were more active in the past. Like people did more of their own, you know, housework, their own you know, lawn work, their own auto repair. Like, people were doing things, right? And now it's like everything is just so easy that it's a lot easier to fall into that. So
it's easier to get easy like that.
Absolutely.
Too. You know, but tattooers got to realize that. Here's the thing: when you're a tattooer, you pretty much focus on everything but yourself. You're focusing on your client. You're focusing on getting your drawing done. When you're done tattooing all day, you're focused on getting some food in your face, which is typically for tattoo artists, they kind of fast foodish. So you're always in such a rush that you forget to focus on yourself as a tattooer because you're in a service industry and you want to make everybody happy and everybody's kind of demanding of you as a tattooer. You know, so the stress is you need to take care of yourself. It's not a question anymore. It's been kind of proven by the older tattooers. You have to take care of yourself. That way you continue your career, you know.
And for anybody in any field. I mean, it's just, it's a good direction to take.
Yeah.
Longevity is important. You got to be here for this amount of time. You might as well be able to move around.
Yeah. And it's just the quality of life.
Absolutely.
Anything, you know,
100%.
How about you? Do you exercise regularly? You seem like
I fluctuate, right? Like, so earlier in life, the gym and everything in like high school was like an out for me. Cause I was not like a cool kid. So for me, it was an escape. Right. And me and my buddy used to go to the gym after school every day and totally, because you're young and you can do it. We totally worked out from like 3:30 in the afternoon till it closed at 9. We'd go 5 days a week.
Nonstop.
We just didn't care. We would just go and we would seriously do a full body and then go play handball in the racquetball courts for like an hour and then like come back in and just do another full body.
Oh yeah.
And everybody at this gym was a bunch of cops and they were all like yoked cops, like the SWAT team kind of guys. And so they would just be in your shit. You know what I mean? They'd be like, you little pussy, fucking blah, blah, blah. They'd be in your shit. And so you just work out all the time and you can handle that when you're that young because you're unstoppable. You know what I mean? Like, it's a terrible idea.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
So you start getting a little bit older and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. But we would work out like that and pretty diligently. And so then like I started getting quote unquote cooler and more popular in school. And I attributed it to the physical fitness, but it wasn't. It was just that I was confident in myself. I was like accomplishing goals and I knew my abilities. And, you know, you build up that confidence and that routine of accomplishing small goals. Like if you go work out and you set your mind to, you're going to accomplish these tasks, it builds that character. It really builds that internal strength. And even at the gym, like just getting through a set of something or getting through a routine, like every time I've never left the gym and was like, man, I'm such a loser for today. You know what I mean? Like it never
don't shortcut anything, you know?
No, but it's such a basic thing you can do for yourself. And just like anything else, taking care of yourself, dressing well, you know, cleaning yourself, shaving if you shave, like doing those small things to build up that level of confidence. So I did it when I was younger, and then I got popular with the friends that I had that were not into. No, it was a bunch of outcasts, like
like me, a bunch of skateboard punks and everything.
Yeah, so I got popular with a particular group, and we got, you know, way distracted and just did all our chaos and all our stupid shit for years. And so I got out of it, and then a couple of years ago, I got into it really heavy. Right, I actually consulted with Josh and a few other friends, and me and my buddy Steven that worked for me with Steadfast, we went full tilt. It started out just going to, like, we had a fitness run out in front of the office, and we would go hit that every day along this lake for lunch instead of going to like eat Cuban food. Yeah. And we started doing that every day. And then it was about 2 to 3 years of absolutely, you know, sticking to a regimen. And the biggest thing, which it is with all fitness, making our own foods and shopping the perimeter of the store. No more boxed, no more can. You know, we looked at food as sustenance, not as a reward. And you ate correctly. You ate to live, not live to eat.
Well, when you're exercising like that, you're more aware of your body. So you naturally, like when you leave the gym, you're not going to go just blow all that work on a horrible meal. So when you're staying active, you're thinking more about your body. You're more conscious about your decisions, food wise, sleep wise. You learn that you need rest.
Yep. And even your cheat meal, even our cheat meal, because I've always been told do that cheat meal once a week just to kind of like shock your system or whatever. So it didn't get like too repetitive. But even then, like, okay, it would be pizza, but I'd be like, I want like a pizza with not much on it. Like I just want some vegetables on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want like 9 types of meat and I don't want this and that and the other,
Yeah.
Or I get sushi, which sushi is not a cheat meal. I eat sushi every day of the week.
It's good.
It's so good. So yeah, so that was it. And, then I like a lot of us do, I'd slip back off it. And recently I've gotten back into a more structured regiment.
It's hard when you get off track.
Super hard when you get off track.
If you're like, if you're in like a workout routine and then you stop,
right,
it's so much harder to get like back in the swing of it.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, it gets in your head, man. Like I was like 38 with an 8-pack. Like I was like, this is crazy. Like I felt amazing. Yeah. And then like if you slide from that, as soon as you like don't have
you can lose it quick.
Real quick. You lose it way faster than you get it.
Yeah.
And then it gets in your head, right? You're like, oh man, I've slipped, blah, blah, blah. And then it's just
to be honest with you, then your confidence goes down a little bit.
It does.
The confidence you have when you're working out, you actually feel less confident, which is weird, But
it is.
It's
you
true.
Think we have enough other reinforcement, but no, it's like everything else, man. You got to take care of all elements,
You do. And so me taking care of, like me exercising and taking care of myself and kind of be a little more health aware, it's allowed my career to be long.
Absolutely.
It allows me to do, I get a lot of people ask me how I do all the shit I do.
Right.
And a big part of it, I tell people, it's like, take care of yourself along the way, managing your time, but taking care of yourself along the way, making sure you're getting the rest and the diet, the exercise, stretching, things like that. Like even just down here on my floor, I have a stretch mat, I just sitting right on the floor. So if you keep it around you too,
right,
it makes you more aware of it.
If it's in your head, they talk about small things like saying that you work out, saying that you eat right, telling people that you are fit conscious, because that is a repetition in your own mind. So you're like, oh shit, well I got to make this choice because I just said that, you know what I mean? And so it's a mantra, like anything else. Like I tell people I read books, so I get like kind of panicked if I don't read anything for a long time, because people are like, oh, what are you reading now? And I'm like, oh shit, let me grab another one.
Reading.
Yeah. And
you get out of your routine, man. It's not a good thing.
Absolutely. So speaking of things you've done and things coming up, we are excited. The Phoenix Hell City show at the Biltmore is on the way.
Yeah, that's a good one too, man. This year we got a really good show lined up. We've actually expanded the booths this year in Phoenix as well, so we're gonna have more artists than ever. You know how it is. Every show we change things up. We either simplify or streamline or grow and add new events and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what we're working on right now. Is all Phoenix. Columbus went amazing this year. We almost had a record-breaking year this year.
Nice.
So we had a great year in Columbus. Last year in Phoenix, we had a little hiccup because of the McGregor fight. And it slowed our Saturday down. So we're hoping that we're not competing with the world, one of the biggest boxing matches in history. So,
ever. Right.
Yeah. And everybody just loves the Phoenix show because it's a good convention, great tattooers, great events. It's got the quality of our Ohio show, but you get a vacation out of it, which very well. So
absolutely.
That's one of the things too that I like. I like that my shows are similar, but vastly different, different sizes of the country, different kind of environments and atmosphere. The one here in Ohio is like right downtown. So you step outside the venue and you're like where the theaters are, the hockey arena and the arts district. So our shows have always been in really good venues and good locations. And I think that, that's a big attraction to the people as well.
How did Hell City come about?
Hell City came about. It's funny because I've done conventions since I was 18 years old. The first show I did was with Tim Miller. It was Easy Riders, like 1991 or something like that. And then I continued to hit shows as I went on to, I tattooed with Dean DeKine, Sailor Moses. And then as I met other tattooers over the years, we did a lot of conventions. So I used to do probably like 20 conventions a year at one point, man. I was twice a month going to shows and stuff like that. But I was also seeing a lot of like shortcomings of the shows, kind of where I was like, why tattooing is such like a visual business and it's such like an artistic business.
Right.
That I thought that these shows could be a lot more visual or focus on the artist more or have better entertainment. Like we have the circus banners hanging everywhere. The venues are nice. So, And it's just well organized and focused on the artist. I've done a lot of shows that did focus on the artist. You'd be waiting for a trash can or your electric to get set up, or just a lot of things. Or you go to the competition area and it'd just be like a table on a stage with a little banner up. And you're like,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm always want to put more effort into something and kind of visually break something down and see how we can make it better, I guess.
Right.
Like the True Tattoo products, but with Hell City, I try to apply all those things that I thought would make a winning formula. And then I pitched it to the Hyatt Regency, where I knew I wanted to do it here in Ohio. And they denied me, man. They were like, no, it was before tattooing was on like television.
Sure.
You know, it wasn't as like fashionable as it is now, you know, for lack of better words. So they denied it for 5 years. And even in those 5 years, I didn't really look at too many other places.
You knew where you wanted to
ballroom. Yeah, the ballroom at the Hyatt's perfect, as you know. It's like got a balcony. It's just awesome. So they denied it. And then this lady, Valerie Gillespie, she jumped on with the Hyatt and saw our proposal from years ago and reached back out to me and was like, hey, are you still interested in doing that? And I was like, yeah, I definitely am. And I had refined everything and had my ideas ready. Sure. So I think from the first year, 2002, it just took off because I knew what I wanted. I already had it pretty much developed. It was a ton of work getting it to where it's at now, how smooth it runs, and, you know, the following that it has. It's been just a ton of work, but it's been very rewarding because I even sold my tattoo shop back then to focus on Hell City. So I had Stained Skin. I started Stained Skin in 1994. I had 2 studios. I actually sold both studios because it was a little too much to tattoo privately and to work on Hell City and to make it better and better, you know, and it seems like it was a winning formula, you know, for kind of going more and just focusing intently on that, because the way I look at it is like, okay, I've had a shop for a long time. I affect people individually with the studio. It's cool. Individual clients and stuff like that. But Hell City affected like a plethora of people, a lot of people. It was creating relationships. It was introducing artists to artists. It was educating people. I felt like it was like affecting more people. And then I wanted to move in that direction, you know, and even put more of my energy into this show because I knew it was being enjoyed by everybody. And it was really kind of making a mark within the tattoo industry. So that increased my energy towards the show. Every year I have the same amount of energy for the show, same amount of passion, you know, nothing's ever changed. It just keeps getting better.
It was definitely one of the first branded shows, because I started going there with my shop, Fat Cats. We had the body jewelry line out of Bali, Intrepid Jewelry. So I was coming out there with organic jewelry, right? This is before, you know, Durante had evolved and stuff like that, or at least he wasn't, you know, hitting the same circuit. And some of the other guys. So I was out there, and that was one of the things that we noticed was like, you know, it seems trivial, but everything from like the signage to the carpets to all the different branding of the Hell City name made it more than just the localized event. It really was a brand. And it was really cool to watch that branding. And, you know, I paid attention to that later in life when I would do my own companies that were branded, you know. And I'm always a big believer in that. Like, if you're making something, you got to talk about it. You got to show it. Like, what is it? And that level of production and the video work that was being done at it and the projectors and all of this, it was a spectacle. And it was different. It was different. Yeah, it felt really cool. And then, of course, the lineup was insane. And the booth sizes at the Columbus show particularly were extravagantly large.
Yeah, back then they were huge.
Yeah, they were huge. And so we always enjoyed it for that and for the team aspect of it. Like, you felt like when you got there, you know, it was involved. You were communicating with the people. Yeah. But also just like anybody that was there, you were engaged, you know. And when you know, Danny Knight and I did Tried and True, it was very much, but when we looked at all the shows that were going down and the shortcomings that we saw as well, and the ones we had attended, Hell City was one of those standards for how we interacted. So along with, like, you know, Shelly, Danny's wife, and Aurora, like we built a team up that did the followed principle, where we sent people down the aisles every hour to see if anybody needed anything, if they needed anything brought in. You know, we supplied each booth. It was crazy. We did, like, it didn't seem crazy. It seemed like, you know, standard. It's a little above and beyond, but it was like everything from the medical tape, the wrap, the alcohol, the water, the paper towels, like everything that could be there as a pack. And any brand that wanted to contribute more to it, we're like, put it out. You know what I mean?
That's what we do.
Have a ton of stuff.
Sponsors and stuff to put more stuff on, because people love that. They love the free stuff. When you
want to get stuff. You've spent a lot of money and effort getting out to a show. You've done a lot. You want to feel like you've got attention. And I've been doing shows since I think the first show I went to was Dina Lipin's
all female
convention.
I was there
from Orlando.
Yeah, I was there too. Yeah.
And they were big. Like at the time, Florida only had that one, had Bruce Ripley's Tampa show, and then like Pins and Needles would come through every once in a while. Like it was kind of like a rotating one. But that was really South Florida with Dave and Sicko. South Florida Tattoo Expo as well.
Yep.
And so that was it. And now they're
changed a lot.
Yeah, they're everywhere. I don't get caught up in that. Things change. People are like, oh, there's more thing today than there was. Right. There's
naturally
4 billion people when I was born, and there's 7 billion now. So
yeah, right. Yeah.
Get over it. Like, and things were whatever. It's like.
No, it's cool to hear that when you started doing your guys' show and stuff like that you were influenced by Hell City and
heavily
what we've done, because
heavily.
I like that.
I feel like we had to do as much, if not more, because we didn't have the infrastructure you had on the tech side. Like you definitely had a developed program in that. Mm-hmm. But as far as like an amazing facility and just taking care of the people who came out, you know what I mean? And making sure they knew we were there for them. Like that small thing. I've been to shows where I never saw a promoter ever. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
me too. Yeah, where you're like,
there was one out in California. I don't want to put their name out, but it rhymes with Shimona. And you would go to that thing, and like you never knew who the fuck was involved. Like you had no idea.
He'd be in the back room trying to count his money.
You would never see him, and there was several shows like that. Like you would never see those people.
Yeah, like I like to keep it a little more. Like I said, the tattoo family. I look at it like that. The people I bring in there. They're not just close friends, but they're, affiliates throughout the industry and stuff like that. And you gotta be personal with the crowd and with your artists. Like essentially they're there, not just for you, but you're a big part of it. You're like the face of your show, and I always try to do that. I try to step out, say hello to people. And you probably remember that when you first started coming to my shows.
Absolutely.
I took a little time to be like, hey, what's up? Thanks for coming. Even though I'm busy as shit, I got 50 things going on. I still take a moment to say hey to everybody.
Right.
And I get other convention promoters coming to my show too. And I like Tramp, for instance, has come to my Phoenix show. I was like, will you just walk around with me? Kind of talk to me about some of the stuff you're doing.
Yeah. And
I look at it like that. I don't hold anything back.
No.
I would rather make things grow and be better in the long run. That's kind of one of the things I'm hoping that whenever I am done with Hell City, that I changed tattoo convention somewhat, in America.
It's no question that you did. It's already.
Yeah. And that's the real goal that I want to look back on, is that I actually just made a mark and change things for the better.
Tramp, that's funny you brought him up. We always do Detroit, and I had done his Texas shows and stuff like that. And as big and intimidating and like stone faced as he is, same thing. He walks around to every booth and says hi and says thanks for coming out every time. He'll walk out and say, hey, thanks, man, for coming out to the show. I appreciate your support. Yeah. Like, for real. Like, and I mean, it's crazy when he does it. Like, when you're like a 20-something-year-old kid and you don't know the guy, you're like, who the hell is this?
Yeah,
like,
intimidating. Dude, he's still intimidating.
He's still intimidating. The guy's still a fucking force.
Yeah.
But yeah, same thing, man. He just takes that time to walk around and do it, and that means a lot because, it's a gamble. Shows are a gamble. Like as an artist or as a vendor or any of that, you're not guaranteed to make money. You're not guaranteed to have it be
That's a popular misconception, man.
Huge misconception.
Everybody's like, these guys making so much money, and they're all jealous because they think about it. No, dude, it's a shit ton of work.
Yep.
If you don't balance your money and your budget right, you won't make anything.
Money quick.
I had a year at Hell City. I made $2,000 after I paid everything off.
Yep.
I still had a hell of a good time doing it.
Yeah, for like 6 months worth of work, you're like, here's $2,000.
I mean, granted, the next year I was like, all right, how could we not spend?
Yeah, you got to learn,
And that's part of learning.
We did ours for a couple of years because it wasn't really about that. For us, we weren't getting in it to stay in it. We never had an intention of staying in it. It was, we felt like Florida was really lacking because there was so many shows all of a sudden, and it was all just these bullshit promoters. There was people coming in from like the real estate industry and like insurance companies and like event planners. And they were just like, yeah, we're just going to put a fucking show on. And I don't give a damn if you're a tattooer. I'm not a tattooer. I owned a shop for 10 years and I was doing, I've always been a part of it. But I was like, if you're going to take care of the event and you're going to take care of the people and you're going to get people through the door and you're going to treat everybody right and everybody has an opportunity to get exposure and make money, there's some great professional promoters that really know their shit. You don't have to do one particular thing to do that job. It's nice when it is from the industry because you feel that personal touch. But if you're just going to step in and just think it's a cash cow and just take it. I mean, you remember a trend a few years back. There was a series of shows where it was all a ruse. This is like MySpace days. And they would market the shit out of a show. They'd get everybody to send in booth money. And then there'd be no show.
No way. Really?
Oh, yeah. I knew several people who got burned on that shit. Yeah, they would just set the whole thing up. And some of them were tattooers. And they would just set the whole thing up, get all that cash, and just be like, ghost. They're moved to Panama.
Damn. Yeah, because they knew they weren't going to make shit off the show. They're like, "This is the only money we're going to make."
Oh, it was scammed up. It was scammed up from the jump. They were doing it. But now with the social media and the industry is much larger, as small as it is, you know, people are able to resource that a little bit. Yeah, you're going to find that shit out. And if you get suckered at that point, honestly, without doing any research and you send that money, that's kind of on you.
Yeah.
That's like I feel about getting bad tattoos. I'm sorry. And this is complicated because there is the apprentice situation. You have to give somebody the opportunity to grow, but it needs to be done in a structured way where the fact that they are apprentice or new is highlighted, because everybody's got some like dumbass friends that'll let them tattoo them. I mean, shit, we all have them.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Like,
you need those dumbass friends when you start.
You got to have those dumbass friends. And you got to, as a male, you got to have 5 or 6 ex-girlfriends.
Right.
They're going to be, how else are you going to learn how to do chest pieces? Remember the cover of every tattoo magazine for like decades was all somebody's girlfriend and usually ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, right.
But
or a couple people ex-girlfriends.
The professional ex-girlfriends in the market.
Yeah, right.
But there was but for today, for you to go out and get a bad tattoo and not do the due diligence. It's so simple. Just go online. I mean, just go into the shop. Like if the shows have shown one thing, it's that, and I don't just bash shows. I mean, they've got their goods and bad points, just like everything. Yeah. But like it's given you, there has been enough phenomenal artists on television now for you to know what is at least acceptable to be done. You know,
true.
And if you go into a shop as a customer and just get a fucked up tattoo and that's just on you because you saw an open sign, man, that's just on you. Like, it's not even on them.
There's anymore. A mentality to that. You know, when somebody goes out, I look at getting tattoos as how much you respect yourself.
Right.
You know, how much you respect your body and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah, and there's a lot more education nowadays. You can get online and see good tattooing, and it's such a visual thing. Like, it's so visual to see a bad one from a good one.
Right.
You know, it's like night
it's
and day.
It's not hard to tell the difference.
Although there are people still out there getting shitty tattoos, I definitely think that there's way more people getting way better tattoos now. I get a lot of people that
without question.
The thing like, what do you think of the TV shows? I think they're good personally because I think they have educated people. They've brought people into the studio, so it's not as intimidating. They realize it's professional young artists that are doing the tattoos. And it's a fun time, not a scary, tough guy, crazy biker, like whatever they think, you know, a bunch of convicts hanging out in there.
Right.
So I think the shows have done, you know, not only has it sprouted a lot of new, you know, young artists that are probably just killing it now, you know, it's also killed a lot of the stigmas that we had with tattooing that were there.
Stigmas, and to not understand as an artist where there are so many artists living well, and I mean well, like there are artists driving, you know, $100,000 cars right now, and living in amazing homes, and like a couple of them that are millionaires.
From
just
tattooing.
Diversifications in tattooing, and to not understand that the reason that so many people are working so much is because of that free advertising is kind of silly. You can fire back and be like, yeah, but the customer base has a skewed idea of how long it takes to do a particular piece or draw one up. Fucking educate them. They've always.
That's one of the only complaints that I would see is that they're like, okay, give me 20 minutes.
Right. But that's simple. But that's simply educating a person on a particular thing. And if that person's going to be dumb about it, they were going to be dumb about other shit anyway. Yeah. Don't even let it phase you. But I agree, man. Like, you know, the other problem is like fighting against reality or inevitability. You know what I mean? Like there's
no, like, I'm not on Instagram. I don't do that stuff.
Right. You're like, all right.
That's kind of how it is nowadays. That's life. Whether you want to deny it or not, like that's reality. And
quit telling me on Facebook that you're not going to be on Facebook.
Yeah. Why are you on Facebook?
Stop using that.
You're going to leave Facebook.
Right. Or like the one like pitting one social media platform against another. Like I've brought this up in previous podcasts.
Oh, what was it recently that came up? It was the one everybody was
oh, yeah, everybody was like, I'm going to this.
Like, 2 days of hardcore. Everybody like, I'm leaving Instagram.
I'm out of here.
Fucking
I can't even remember the name of it. It was that bad.
Yeah, me too. It was like, dude, it was like 2 or 3 days of watching people argue on other social platforms about that new one.
Right.
How about I was going to like clean everything out. It's like, no, dude.
It's so ridiculous.
It's not going anywhere.
It's just a weird thing. It's like saying, I'm going to get rid of my telephone or I'm going to get rid of the mail service. You know what I mean? It's like fighting against what's happening in front of you and not utilizing it for your best interest is crazy to me. Like, so we've had people tell us, right, we live in it. Don't worry about it. And I've had artists come up to me, like from doing lives, whether it was through like Steadfast or Inked or whatever, going around the show. And I'll stop at a booth. I don't care if you're known. I'll stop if the piece is cool. I'll be like, that's a cool fucking tattoo. You know what I mean? Because you're only famous because you're famous. It has nothing to do with your talent level. There's better art. I've run into better artists in, third world countries than we have almost anywhere because they just eat and breathe it and live it. And they're just creative. You know what I mean? A creative person can make something out of nothing. I remember in Savage magazine, there was this crazy article about some like super Eastern Bloc Russian tattooer, and the thing looked like a shed. Like you wouldn't get your tires changed at it, and all the machines were like homemade. He was basically making ink out of like checkers. You know what I mean? Like, and his portraits were like out of control.
Sandals, prison style and shit.
Dude, he was doing, this was back in the day. This was like when like your black and gray guys that you knew about were like, Renshaw and Bob and stuff like that. And this guy just busted out of nowhere with these like tiger tattoos where the lips were wet and the eyes had gloss. This is before people were doing that shit. And he was using it in completely primitive situations. You know what I mean? He's super fucked up. He's got a generator running the shop, like with gas in it.
Running his machines off a car battery.
Yeah. So I'll just stop there at anybody and I'll show their work. Exactly. Don't do that. And I'll stop and just focus on a cool tattoo because it's cool. And I just want to see, what the person's doing. And we've had people come back and say, seriously, Chris, like that live, that like 20 minutes you did, like focusing on me in front of that crowd, in front of social media, changed my entire collection, my entire books. Like I'm booked out now for weeks just because they saw it. You know what I mean?
The tattoos that he wants to do.
Yeah, doing the tattoo he wants to do, but getting that exposure, just getting that one moment of time to be seen like that can change the whole game because it puts a face to the name. And like I tell people with these shows, if you're going to be on it, I don't knock the guys who and the ladies who keep reiterating it because those shows stay in syndication. They stay playing. And even if they were bumped out in the first 2 episodes, like people like them. Somebody likes you. Somebody
out there.
Next to you.
Exactly.
Right. Yep. Somebody looks at your art and that connects to them.
Yep. There's a place for it.
Right. There's a place for it. There's a place for it. Anything in anything.
There's almost a place for, like you said, anything in tattooing. There's somebody that's going to find an attraction to it.
Right.
Focus on it. And that's the thing, is like sometimes it could be something so minute that somebody focuses on and it grows. Then you see other people get influenced by it and doing the same. That's how it all works, And it usually comes from something that nobody was even thinking about doing.
Well, look at all the styles that do that. Look at what's like trending now with like geometry and the pointillism and like all of these different trends, watercolor tattoos and all this stuff.
And it's all shit back in the day that you were like, puh.
You're like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like I look at all the black work as like modern tribal.
It is, yeah.
All the super complex geometric patterning and stuff. I fucking love it. Yeah. I think it's fucking great. And I think it's timeless. It's modern Maori. It's modern Polynesian. You know what I mean? Like Evan Beers does like actual Polynesian. Fucking love that guy, dude. Yep. He won his first award at Hell City. I didn't even realize that until he said it. I was like, bro, I filmed that guy like a year and a half ago. He did this crazy back piece on this woman, and is devastating. The way he understands flow, it's like tribal. Like you got Daytona Flash tribal, and then you got like Leo Zoletta. You know what I mean? Who understands tribal. Yep. And tribal isn't bad. Bad tribal is bad. Bad traditional is bad. Bad bio work is bad. But when it's done well, they're all amazing. If they're executed well and they understand the body and they understand the weight, and
tattooing is like language. Like I could not even have my eyes open and I could hear your voice and I would know it's you.
Right.
With art, it's kind of like that. It's a visual kind of language. If anything, you could tell, like, there's so many people tattooing, but you could still go up to certain tattoos and be like, Remember did that. Or
when it scrolls through the list, you know.
It's like a language. So tattooing is like an artistic language on skin, essentially, you know, because like I said, everybody has their own way of talking and their own slang, and you can hear their voice. You can see their voice, essentially, with the way they do their tattooing, you know, expressing themselves.
I like what you said too about the value you take in it. Like I've heard that before, like you get the tattoo you deserve. And if you got a fucked up one, you know, it might not be that you're a bad person, but you're just not thinking clearly at the time. You made one of those bad choices, you know, we've all made those, whether it was an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend or the tattoo or, you know, a choice to, go to jail that weekend or not go to jail that weekend, whatever it was.
Done that too.
Choices. Yeah. You know, we've all made those.
Done all those.
So you just have to be aware, man. And most of the tattoos I've gotten that are what I consider good tattoos, it's not even their technical aspect. I've got some tattoos on me that are fucking technically crap, but it was with an amazing person at an amazing time for an amazing reason. You know what I mean? Like it's got a story. My least favorite tattoos on me are the people that I didn't actually connect with first, and they're my least favorite people. Like it's not the quality of the work, it's the quality of the person, because you wear that moment in time with them. Yeah. You know, which is
it's very true. And you remember it too. It's not, tattoos are a story of your life, what you're into at that time when you got it, who you were around, you know, where you were at, all this stuff, where matching tattoos.
Yep.
And you got to connect with the artist, especially if you're getting like a larger custom work.
Right.
You know, it's one thing if you get a little banger on vacation, you know.
It should still be fun. It should still be somebody you vibe with. Absolutely.
Yep.
And it's not hard.
It's like exchanging energy.
Absolutely. 100%. And it is the story, man. And like, you know, one of the stories I always go to that I disliked this situation so much. This was like 10 years ago. I went into a Starbucks and the dude behind the counter was like, "Man, I love your sleeves." I was like, "Thanks, man." He's like, "I can't wait to get mine." I'm like, "That's cool. What are you getting?" He's like, "I don't care." And I'm like, fuck, man, come on. Like, this isn't a hat. Like, you know, take it a little bit seriously, collect it for a particular reason, and don't be in any rush. You know, don't be in any rush. Save up. Like, it's like a car. Like, think about it long term. Think about something you truly want, not what you can afford right now. You know?
I think people's enjoyments of getting tattooed propels them to either become heavily tattooed or just to have those hodgepodge cookie cutters. Like if, let's say your first tattoo experience is the tattoo's horrible, you had a horrible experience, the artist was a dick. It's not going to propel you to be like, you know what I really want to get a bunch more tattoos.
Right.
You know, I got this shitty one. I didn't like the guy. I don't want to go through that again.
Right.
So if you vibe with the artist and you get a good tattoo and you did your research, like it will propel you into collecting more to get a bodysuit eventually. So when I get tattooed by people, like I usually have like 1 or 2, maybe 3 tattoos from the person like I buy from typically, whether it's large work, like Guy. I got a lot of work from Guy Aitchison and I vibe with him a lot, you know, like the way he thinks, like the way he tattoos, his dedication. Timothy Hoyer, I've known Timothy for a long time. He did my back. So he's done like large, did my whole back. He did the back of my calf really big. So just different people that you vibe with, you know, and that way you can look back to it, feel good about your tattoos when you look at them. You're like,
absolutely,
you know,
it was a good choice.
That's important.
That's what I told everybody in my shop. I've repeated this before on here, but I told everybody in my shop, whether it was an apprentice to an artist to a piercer, it didn't matter. I said, what that customer comes in today and walks away with is what they feel about this industry. Yeah. You're in complete control. Exactly. Don't shit on what they want. Get it, even if it's a simple banger, get them in it. Let them know that, you know, because a lot of people, especially if they're coming in for their first thing, they don't remember. People don't remember what it was like when they went in and got their first. Like if you're generational and you're born into it, that's one thing. But I remember going into, you know, Willie's Tropical Tattoo in Ormond Beach, like a straight, you know, biker down shop. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
awesome back then.
Like ones that like other people didn't. They like there was none in perimeter of them for a reason. And you know, I went in there and I was like 16. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And by the second time I went in that shop, I knew I was going to own a shop. I knew I was going to be in the business because I was like, there's
something about it.
Lifestyle for me that I don't have to fit into this other thing of what I thought life was. and I can excel here, whether I pierce, whether I tattoo, whether I'm in the business of it, doesn't matter. I just knew that there was a different direction that I could take. And that's what was liberating, was knowing that the parameters that I thought were on society and on me as a male in the area I was brought up in and the family I was brought up in. And once that was shattered, I was like, game on. Like I was like ready to go have a good time. And I did, you know?
Yeah.
And I tell everybody that, remember that first experience. You know, you might think that kanji's stupid or this, that, and the other. Sit down with them. Show them what the options are. Show them what things can be. Or if they want, that's what they really want, don't act like a dick. Give it to them. Like they want their belly button pierced, do it.
And they'll go on to get bigger tattoos.
And they will go on to get, that'll be a client. Yep.
Yeah.
The idea that like, if it's
I hate to say this, those clients are like friends for life.
For life.
You know, that's like one of the best things about tattooing too, is the people you meet. Like there's no other business down the street anywhere that's like tattooing. Maybe getting your hair done for 20 minutes, 30 minutes comfortably. Yeah. You're drinking whatever and just chilling. But like tattooing is it's a whole different thing within itself than any other business. It's almost more intimate. You're putting somebody in pain. Right. You know, and you hear things from your clients that they know you don't know their husband or their wife or their friends or their kids. They know they're in this like solitude moment with their artist. Mm-hmm. And it's very vulnerable. It's kind of like a torture device too. Like, I'll tell you anything, you know, like when you start putting them in pain. So in those aspects, you got to respect it as a tattooer, the confidentiality you hear from people. Right. But I think it's so awesome that people feel confident and comfortable enough in those like, you know, intimate, painful, you know, settings like tattooing does. And there's nothing else like it. There's no other business like it. Not even massage therapy, because you're like,
I was about to say, well, there's also massage therapy.
But you're not in a discomfort, you know, you're like,
shit, you ever had a Thai massage?
Yeah, I have.
That's horrible. Like,
yeah, it is pretty painful.
I'm more scared of a Thai masseuse than I am of a jiu-jitsu practitioner. They are fucking cruel.
Yeah,
like,
they'll beat you up.
Holy crap, because you can't tap out. Like when they put you up and they got your arms locked behind you, and you're just like, I had a girl, she had her knee in the back of my neck, and she had both of my wrists like flipped upside down and my arms and all the way forward, and I was like,
pull back on you?
Yeah, I don't understand what you're trying to do right now. She had like,
she's trying to get you to
get her armpits and all that. She's like I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, did I date your sister or something that I don't know? And you're mad at me? Like, what is going on?
But yeah, tattooing to me has always been one of those like coveted thrones, really. Like when you're a tattooer, like you're in a very respectful position, in a very confiding position for people. So
well, you should be. And just like with everything, you know, there's good experiences, bad experiences. There's people that make the whole thing, you know, drop down levels, unfortunately. And a lot of that is always just like anything in life. It's the ego side of it. Like anytime you let your ego get into play, like, and you forget that no matter what your profession is in life, you're typically in service. And it's almost always frivolous, unless you're like doing like heart surgery on babies. Like you're not really necessary, and you need to remember that humility, that whatever we're doing for people, anything in life, is a choice that they have to come to you or not. Yeah. And you need to respect that. And if you respect that, no matter what you do in life, and you have that humility and you have that gratitude for having the opportunity to perform whatever it is you perform, then your attitude for yourself, I think you'll feel more fulfilled. Because you'll always have that impression, like, oh my goodness, I'm enjoying what I'm doing today. I'm enjoying what I'm having, you know, done. And the people that you engage with will have a better experience and have a better view of you. Yeah. And it's really easy. It's something you don't have to like create. It's not false, you know. Yeah. You can't.
Sometimes that takes a while for tattooers to learn. Because I think sometimes when you get into tattooing, it's so fucking new and taboo, and you got people kind of like giving you compliments, you know. So staying humble, keeping your head small.
Right. So remember to tell your artists that they suck every time.
And don't take it for granted. Never once think that you're the fucking shit, because I know that happens. When you give somebody some compliments, they're like, and then you see their whole personality change. The key is be a badass tattooer, keep doing what you're doing, and stay humble. You'll attract more people like that. You know,
we'll call them bottle rocket careers, where they they climb too fast, too quick, and they just go, and they're over. They're over. There's a lot of people.
I've seen so many fucking people come into this industry and leave
out fast
within years, man.
Super fast.
They try to make a big statement, whether it's the right way or wrong way. It's usually the wrong way. That's why they're not around. But I've seen so many people come in, make a name for a moment, and then just fucking burn out, fizzle away, and never hear them.
Right. Well, and the other thing is because they're not actually. they're not actually developing anything. They're not building anybody. Like they're just out there for that after party. They're just out there for that acknowledgement. They're not building anything sustained, you know? And so, and just like anything else in life, if you do that and you don't remember to go, you know, in steps, and don't pimp out words like, I did a post about this the other day. Don't pimp out words like humility. You don't know what it means. Like typically if you're saying it all the time, you don't know what the fuck it means. Just like just like using family and loyalty as a marketing platform. Don't do that shit because it isn't something you express to other people.
Naturally be there. You shouldn't have to read
it just is. You know what I mean?
When you got to tell somebody that you're something. It's
all the time.
That's not a real thing at all.
It happens a lot. I mean, you've had some, you know, with your show being kind of, you know, regarded as like one of the ones to be at. That's happened a lot. I've watched that happen a lot with your show. Like I've seen those cats come through and right back out, you know?
Yeah.
You never see them again.
It's funny, dude, you know, on a, I don't want to say a down note with doing a convention, also you get a lot of haters. You know, and that's natural. If you're doing anything good, that's why a lot of people are like, so-and-so's talking shit, you know? And I'm like, that's because it's not like shit talking, it's jealousy.
Right.
You know? So I think kind of staying positive within that stuff too.
Right.
The hate I get out of Hell City is if somebody doesn't get a booth.
Right.
I know I have so many booths. It's not like none of it's fucking personal, but
don't take it personal.
A lot of people do take things personally, and that's
absolutely.
At first, I was like, dude, I don't want people to hate me. You know, like in the early years of Hell City, where like I didn't even do anything. I just don't have a booth.
Right.
You slowly learn how to deal with those you know things too, like that.
Right.
You become a little bit more numb. You know what to focus on and what takes your time away. Like drama will take your fucking time away.
Right.
It'll distract you. It'll change your entire day.
Yep.
You know, things like that. So
that was actually one of the topics I was going to bring up.
Yeah. So I think through my career and having to deal with so many people, you can't please everybody.
No.
You know, you can be the nicest fucking
Nor should
guy.
you try.
Yeah, nor should you try. And that's something you learn over time. At first, you try to be everybody's buddy. You want to be super successful and please everybody. And then once you realize you can't, then you kind of see how people really are.
Yep.
You know, and how a lot of people are just opportunists and they're not, you know, there for anything else. But yeah, I mean, that's something we talk about, taking care of yourself too in tattooing. Part of taking care of yourself, knowing what I know now from being in the industry so long, is not getting involved in fucking drama.
Right.
Because all it does is it'll just take your energy away.
Absolutely.
You know? It'll change your direction.
Yep. Staying out of it was my greatest strength, and getting consumed by it was my greatest weakness. Telling people to stay away from the bullshit. Like I brought it up the other day with the models, like, you know, for everything from Steadfast to Winged and everything else, these models will go up and put up a picture and they'll get 10,000 likes. And then one person will be like, you're fucking ugly. And they get so focused on that one person out of 10,000, you know what I mean? Yep. And I'm like, this is crazy, but that's reality. That's what happens. We get consumed by that. And I used to tell everybody, you know, Josh Ford, when my shop was open, well, my shop's still open. I sold it to my 9-year manager. I sold it right at 10 years when Steadfast was growing out. And so now it's been there, God, like 17 years, something like that. And it's still killing it in Central Florida. And, these guys were like opening up because I had gotten grandfathered into the historic district. I was the only shop. We're the only shop in downtown. Like, got a melting.
Before they started like governing tattooing big time.
Yeah, well, they tried to crack down because they didn't want it to like happen, but I was already in, so we got grandfathered in. And they started like dotting us, you know, as close to downtown as they get, which is natural. Like people are going to do that. Like obviously if there's a business area, but it was the shit talking that was the problem, right? They'd come in and they'd be like, you know, the people that think they're going to make a name for themselves just by shitting on you. And that works for a small group of people, generally the type of people you don't want in your life anyway.
It's also pretty evident to other people too.
Super evident. And the people that it's not evident to and they want to be a part of that drama, you don't want. And that's what Josh had told me. I go, man, you know, I'm really ate up. There's this shop right down the road. They're talking all this shit about our shop and the artists and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, man, I was like, they're doing like super dirt cheap tattoos and piercings. And he goes, great. That thins out your clientele. That gets rid of the junkies. That gets rid of the negative ones. That gets rid of people that only want to spend $40 on a fucking tattoo in the first place. They're like, don't sweat it. He's like, that helps you thin it out. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, allow it to propel you to the next level. Yep.
Right. And so we made that a shop policy, was no matter what you heard don't repeat shit to any client ever,
Don't even
because
say their name.
don't even say it. You're just giving it fire. You know what I mean? You're just fueling them. You're making them relevant by acknowledging them. You know what I mean? That's like on a political level, that's what people don't understand about the policy that's always been with North Korea, is people are like, the other presidents didn't want to sit down with him and da-da-da-da-da-da. Right, because he's a fucking idiot. And if you give him the space of the world platform, you validate him.
You give that platform.
You do. You give him that platform. So you fucking ignore him.
One of the best things you can do with your enemies is not talk, you know? Like,
exactly.
Don't even let people hear their name.
Right.
I've had that. It's funny. I get a lot of younger artists that are dealing with drama and stuff like that. And I do get emails like, how do you deal with this? I'm like, nowadays, like my solution nowadays, I'll delete your fucking comment.
Mm-hmm.
I'll block you. I don't care, you know, because it's my page. It's how I want to control stuff.
Right.
You know, but I'm also not going to allow that comment to sit on my page. I'm not going to let anybody see your name on my page. If you're wanting to, you know, have your statement moment or, you know, I'll just delete it because I don't have time for it. I don't want to entertain it. I don't want to reply to it.
There's a big difference.
You know, and that's the best way to do it.
Right. There's a big difference between an open requested dialogue. Like if I put on my page, hey, I want to hear your views on X, and then people can engage that, I'm not going to go get rid of you. But if I just write something and you're just going to fucking chime in, like you said, to get yourself sitting on that platform, I'm not.
That's what it is. I've been doing a thing lately, practicing stoicism, like Marcus Aurelius, things like that. And it's just kind of like staying stoic in moments that are testing you, because they're not really going to make a difference. So say somebody talking shit about you down the street, remain stoic because it's really not going to affect you.
Right.
You know, and at the end of the day, unless you let it affect you, but that's why you've got to remain stoic and just like block it out. It's not going to affect you. Keep doing what you're doing, you know? Yeah. So study some stoicism. Marcus Aurelius. Yeah. I like his philosophies a lot.
Nice, man. I always like that.
That's a business thing of mine too, is just remaining stoic. Be like, okay. That guy's talking shit. Guess what? I've never hung out with that dude a day in my life.
Ever.
You know, I mean, that's the reality. Does it really affect you?
Right.
No.
Well, that's a big lesson
that guy
too.
Ever? No.
There's a difference between, and I've had to go through this because I've had my moments where I slip. Like I say all this stuff, you know, because like the quote I always say, you teach best that what you most need to learn. Like, like I love to hear it, and sometimes I fail at it, right? And I get involved in the bullshit, but I try really hard not to. And the thing that I think you have to do on a self-evaluation are the people that you're hearing about that have something to say about you, somebody actually in your life. Is it one of the people you really respect? If that's happening, if you have a peer structure and your peers are telling you, yo, man, you're a fucking piece of shit, or what you did is really fucked up and you need to reevaluate it, or what you're doing right now is really damaging. That's one thing. But just these like sideline assholes, and it's usually, for me, it's always been somebody that I had that gut instinct from the gate was not somebody, but I used to have this like desire to like, you know, if somebody maybe abstractly didn't like me, or I felt they didn't like me, you know, that people pleaser mentality. I was like, man, I need to try and connect with that person, you know, because maybe there's something to build from there. Yeah. And you just shouldn't try. Like things are going to be organic. Go with your gut. If something tells you the dog is dangerous, the dog's probably dangerous. You know what I'm saying? But you got to go with your gut. You got to go with that instinct. Yeah. And like 99% of the time, that's where I've gotten burned, was trying to bridge a gap with somebody that I knew there shouldn't be a gap there, just because I like peace and order and I like structure and I like opportunities, you know? So I'm like, maybe there is something there. You know what I mean? And so you just, as you get older, hopefully, you get better at it.
I think so. I mean, we're all still guilty of it. But yeah, I think that's one of the things, like we're talking about the health of the tattoo artists and all that stuff. Like part of it is,
and people, not everybody listens.
Yeah. Just remaining drama free and stress free. I actually teach that I teach a couple seminars. One of them is, it's actually called Longevity of the Artist. Mm-hmm. And we hit on a lot of different health aspects. A couple of the chapters that I go over are stress and drama and about how to avoid those, because they'll take away from your drawing time, or your energy is not as positive. So it also comes with experience, because when you get into tattooing, it's kind of like a new thing. Like you might have been the most passive dude until you get into tattooing, and then you hear this and you hear that, and like you said, it could kind of like consume you at some point. You like, I think early in your career, until you get either sick of it, you realize why people do it, you know, you kind of figure it out. And then as you're older, you're so much more productive and successful because you're not dealing with that stuff.
Right. You're not caught up in it.
Yeah. So I think I don't like to harbor on drama too much, but right. I think it is something that if we're speaking to the younger artists and stuff, like, hopefully that gives them some kind of direction to avoid that in their career, or just put that energy into their art.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for anything that you do in life.
Yeah.
Anything you got going on.
Yep.
Speaking of the shows and stuff, you did a year off to go do a project in Italy, Venice.
Yeah, we did it was called the Venetian Tattoo Gathering. Yeah, we did it the year in 2016 that I took off at Hell City. Mm-hmm. And part of my year off, I didn't originally intend on doing any convention in my year off, other than kind of giving Hell City a facelift and internally, you know, fixing some things and making new things and all this. So I was just going to work on Hell City, you know, True Tubes and True Tattoos stuff. And then I went to Italy, and I hosted the Worldwide Tattoo Conference in Italy, which is fucking awesome, man. I had like 1,000 people. Everybody had headsets on, different languages, translators, awesome. You know, it was really cool. But after I did that, Alex and Gabe approached me and they say, hey, we got this idea for the first ever tattoo convention inside of Venice, Italy proper, you know, because there's never been a show. There's shows that are across the bridge and Lake Treviso and stuff like that. And they knew the experience that I had with Hell City, you know, organizing that and things that I do. Even in the past, like Paradise Tattoo Gathering and Gabe and stuff like that, like a lot of these people have brought me in to consult with me, to pick my brain, to help their contracts. And I love doing that. I don't mind doing that at all. But when they approached me with the Italian convention, I was like, all right, because I'm part of Italian. So I was like, fuck yeah. So it was a
no-brainer.
Right? Yeah. And we'd already been going over there, been to Italy multiple times. So yeah, I took it on with Alex DePasse and Gabe Ripley, and it was different, you know, mainly the logistics of trying to do a convention in Venice when there's no water, fucking steps over bridges. And so it was bringing things in logistically was definitely different.
Sure.
Than
you don't have a loading dock the same way. You can't just like back a rider up in there.
You gotta load a boat, take the boat around, unload the boat, drive the boat around, get more shit. So it was like this rotating cycle. So it had challenges, but we also were trying to do more of like a small kind of intimate artistic convention over there. We did it in the Palazzo di Zenobio, which is where Madonna filmed, was it Like a Virgin? Like
nice.
Inside the Ballrooms, where she filmed that video back in the day. It's like that's kind of really well-known, you know, palace, essentially in Venice. And it went really well. We had like a masquerade. We had like an Italian masquerade party on Saturday night. You know, so we tried to make it as Italian as we could for people. Traditions and mask painting, you know, competitions and stuff like that. So it was fun. It was different. We haven't really talked about doing it again. There's been whispers of us doing it again. But personally right now, like doing Hell City twice a year at the level that we do it and the size, it's so work on top of
shop and True Grips and True Tubes.
Yeah, just everything, trying to have a life and stuff like that at the same time, because that's important, you know, not working every moment of the day.
So the shop game I'm familiar with in your new shop.
What's that, with RedTree?
Yep.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you still got that?
Yep, so we got RedTree. RedTree came about, like I started Stained Skin in 1994, and those are like busy street shops, just powerhouse crews, like a lot of really good artists.
I've been in it
over the years. What's that?
I've been in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see the picture I put up the other day from 2003 getting tattooed by Boris wearing a Stained Skin shirt?
Yeah, I did. Yep. It was the one that I designed too.
I gave you a shout out. I was like,
yeah, I did see that. Fucking awesome. Like you all young in it and stuff.
I know, all black hair.
Yeah, RedTree came about from, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, that I had Stained Skin. I had sold both those shops to focus on Hell City. And so what I did is at that time, I put in a private home studio, put down hardwood flooring, separate sterilization area, kind of made like a really nice little home studio. I did that for probably 7 years, but the whole time I was tattooing privately. I loved it. I got a lot done. took Hell City to the next level. I developed a lot of the true tattoo supplies and true grips and all that when I wasn't doing a street shop. But I was always missing, I guess, the element that I had from street shops is the camaraderie of the other artists that are in your shop with you.
Shops are fun.
Yeah, exactly. They're fun. So I started missing that, but I was like, okay, I can't be, I'm literally so busy nowadays that I can't be bombarded with like street traffic and like, what do you want? You know? So what I wanted to do was like, okay, I get so many emails from people wanting tattooed by me that I can't physically do. So I wanted to open up a private appointment only, consultation only tattoo studio where I could nurture artists, direct them kind of in their career as far as their artwork. Because a lot of these artists that come to me, including some badasses now, like Rich Cook, Adam France, Nate Marty, all these artists came and they were kind of like all over the place. And then I look at RedTree as a place to come and really zone in on what type of tattooing you want to do, because you're not distracted by everybody and their brother walking in the front door. You don't even have to answer the emails you don't want to. That's the way we literally answer the emails of tattoos that we're interested in. There's no wasted energy on anything you don't want to do artistically. You can't get in without a consultation. You can't get in without an appointment. So I've seen my artists like really, really grow and be able to focus on a specific style of tattooing they want to excel in, you know? Nice. So when I was getting ready to open it, that was the whole theory was behind RedTree, is like, I want a private consultation only. I want to nurture other tattoo artists' careers in the direction of their art, provide just a really good workspace and just a place I could do some business out of. I had some people coming to my house when I was tattooing that, you know, for like business stuff where I was like, I should probably have a shop for this type of stuff. So RedTree gives me
borders,
the chance.
Man. It's good to have borders.
Yeah. It gives me a chance to have my studio back, have the camaraderie of my artists, nurture these artists, and have a place for business, you know, outside of, so I have RedTree, and then right down the road, we have True Tattoo Supply, which is like a big double warehouse. Nice. I'm pretty close to both of my businesses, you know.
So if anybody wants to get a hold of you for that shop by consultation, what's the best way for them to get there?
They go to our website, actually, go to redtreetattoo.com, and then you can select which artist you want to email. Is
that in Columbus proper? Or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're like right downtown too, man. So it's really cool because I was tattooing privately in my home in Reynoldsburg, which is kind of private out in the country.
Right.
Nice. Kind of boring out there. So now me and Cervena, we live downtown. Yep. Like we could walk to the studio from our home, 4 minutes down the road's a warehouse. So life's pretty easy. You know?
Yeah. And the show's right there.
Exactly. Like,
the only thing you got to go out for is Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah. So no complaints. So RedTree is literally, it's turned into everything that I kind of imagined while I was doing, you know, private tattooing. Very good. Essentially it's still private, which is great. It doesn't waste anybody's time, you know.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Well, efficiency is huge. You know what I mean? Like you said, you're always a big advocate for balancing your time and scheduling your time properly. I think that's easily one of my biggest weaknesses.
Hard.
And it was easier. It's easier at different points in my career, like depending on what I'm doing. When it was like the shop thing, you know, your shop has structure, there's dates, there's times, etc. When we built Steadfast, you know, literally out of the back of a truck, you know, driving around the country, for years, you're just at a mad grab. It's like every opportunity, anytime.
That's what it takes, though.
But exactly. But once it became like a structure, then we had office and warehouse and different like that. And then after the merge, and I went into more of a media kick with Inked and all of that, then it became a different beast. And now, like, I've got, you know, the ismygirl.com, and I've got this, and I've got that.
You're busy as hell nowadays.
Yeah, but you know what? You know, it sounds like it, but one of the things that I've found as you get older is that, or at least for me, is that it appears that I'm busier, but I'm not frantic. So the things that I'm doing, you know,
said it.
Right. You know, I have tasks that I accomplish that are at a higher level simply because I've got so much, you know, history behind me.
More efficient with. So.
Yeah, just more efficient. And because my connections are bigger, you know, my network is bigger, I'm able to do things that you can't do your first year out. You just can't do them, you know?
Yep. So I feel the same way.
Right. So while I'm doing more things per when you're building something from scratch, there is
you got to put all your time and energy into it.
Well, and it's so much of it's wasted.
Nowadays.
So much time, so much money is just wasted because I don't know anything. I just figure shit out as I go along. I'm like, I want to do a shop. I had been in shops. I was like, I feel like I can do it like this. So, you know, I started from the ground up with just the piercing side and then, you know, brought in artists and da-da-da-da-da. And just same thing with the clothing line. I was like, I don't know how to do this. I was like, what do you do? I was like, you go to Vegas. You go there because that's where the big trade show is. So I went there as like a buyer and just walked around and got, the infrastructure and met everybody and made all my connections and all the other brands that I looked up to and, friended them all and told them what I wanted to do. You just build it up. I'm no official training or education in anything. You just go. And hard work, tenacity will do it. Tenacity will take a long way. There's a lot of terrible people in the world that are extremely successful, and they're horrible people, but they're successful because they're tenacious, because they just don't stop. They are steadfast. They are in motion all the time. Yeah. And people reward that.
Takes, though, too. Yeah. I mean, treat people right along the way, but be tenacious.
No, you don't have to. You look at dictators. You can be a dick and still accomplish things. Look, we have presidents, and you can get to certain levels by just not ever stopping, because somebody values that. Now, if you are personally, you have your own convictions and things, lines that you will not cross in your life and your own integrities, it's oftentimes harder, but it's more personally rewarding. Joey DeZormo, Infinite Irons. Super good friend of mine. Love the guy. Absolutely one of the most dynamic, unbelievably hardworking people I've ever met. Super high level, crazy. The dude is there. He and I, one time when I was starting one of my projects and he was taking Infinite Irons to this next level, we're like, dude, it would be so much easier. And you can relate to this with the True products. It would be so much easier to succeed if you were just an immoral piece of shit. Because the people that just go steal what everybody else does and just goes and takes everybody else's ideas and just steps on everybody's throat to get there, it's so much easier for them.
They get successful that way, but do they sleep right at night?
No, fuck them, man. I'm not with that bullshit. I'd much rather be me, and the people that I value, I respect every single person I look up to in my life.
I sleep well at night.
Dude, I sleep well at night, and the people that I look up to and the people that I'm fortunate enough to call peers and that I can call or text or whatever, I respect every single one of them at a high level. Yeah. And so I feel as long as that's in my life, I have gone through, my phone records everybody on my email, everybody, no matter if I delete them or not, they're there. And every time I get a new phone, they're all re-updated. And I look through that sometimes. I know, X's and everything else is on. And I go through it, and I nix them out, man. I make sure that they're gone, because, I'm no longer the type of person that will spend that energy on somebody that was poison to me. And it doesn't mean that I'm better than they were. It means that our dynamic was toxic. And you next that shit out, and it goes right back into what you're saying, man. Not getting caught up in the drama, not getting caught up in the bullshit. Because it takes everything from you.
It's almost like you have to ignore it. Like I said, out of sight, out of mind. If you don't entertain it, it won't entertain you. It won't take your time or your energy.
Absolutely. Well, man, on that, dude, I really want to thank you for jumping on here. You're somebody that I've looked up to for a long time. I think most of the business has a tremendous amount of respect or envy for you.
Great to hear.
And it's not just on the superficial level. It's more about the attitude you've maintained during it. You know what I mean? Than what you've done. I don't really give a fuck what you've got in a warehouse. I'm not going to use any of it. I respect what you've accomplished, but I value the way you've accomplished it. To me, that's always been something that, while everybody struggles and we all go through these things, we all have our highs and lows, it's very important to have people, even if they don't know you're watching them, it's good to have people that you watch, for example. You know what I mean? And not just for fame and not just for whatever. Because what you have means fucking nothing. That's what the other person has. But how they carry themselves while getting it or losing it or gaining it again means everything. So
it really does. It defines a character, it defines a person. Really, really.
Yeah. And that's the point of the podcast, the other side of the tattoo. It's what goes on at a deeper level. Look past the Instagram likes and see what that person's about, what they're really doing and what they're doing long term. Cause it's real fucking easy to feel great about yourself for 1 year, but maintaining, man, maintenance,
that's dealing the question I get from a lot of people is how have you done so much for so long? You know? And it comes down to, like I said, it's treating people right, take care of yourself, just doing the right thing. Don't be a shitbag along the way.
Yep.
Make lasting relationships in the industry, and just try your hardest. That's the main thing. And get up every day. Get up every day with a goal. Live your life off lists. I live off of lists.
Yeah.
What I want to do, I'm not going to be able to remember.
Are you like a sticky note guy, or are you
No, I'm more of a Google Doc list
Yeah.
guy that I can put on, and I have like other lists. So I have like my workers, so I'll put stuff on their list, and I got a lot of shit I want to do. A lot of shit I'd love to do. Unfortunately, I can't accomplish it all. But if you have the right people behind you and stuff like that too.
Well, that's the way it always is, man. Self-made, and I'm sorry for anybody that got this tattooed on your knuckles, is bullshit. It is. There's no such thing as self-made. If you're a hermit and you make like statues out of your own poop, then yeah, maybe. But like anybody else, like there is a network there. Even if you are a self-sustaining artist, your clients, the people who buy your shit, they make you. You know what I mean? You could die penniless in an attic like a lot of famous artists have, and like, you know, then they sell for hundreds of millions later. But
I wouldn't be able to do what I do and everything I've done over my career, one, without my energy and my insight, but without the team that I've surrounded myself.
Absolutely.
And treat them right along the way too. That's why a lot of people will tattoo. Those tattoo artists you have for like a couple years at your shop. I get people for like 5 to 7 years. You know, I get people work for me for like 10 years. And that's hard to find.
Our main artist at Fat Guy, Stan Luce, I think he's been there 14, 15 years.
See, and that's phenomenal, man.
It's crazy.
That's what it is you being a good dude, treat people.
Nah, we just flatten his tires every time he comes over.
Yeah, just don't let him leave. Threaten his family, his kids.
Absolutely. Well, hey man, we're gonna roll out now. We are going to come back at another time with the lovely Savannah Fox. And then also, yeah, me too, man. And then also we're gonna do a couples one, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. So anyway,
we're looking forward to that. That'll be silly. That'll be us just talking a bunch of shit to each other.
Yeah, probably dressed up like Star Wars characters and
she might be
being wildly inappropriate. That one might not make it to YouTube.
Hey, we're all good with that.
Hey, there's RedTube. We can
well,
Durb, man, thank you so much. We appreciate everything,
brother.
And keep killing it out there, and we'll all keep watching.
I'll be seeing you in probably in August.
Yes, sir.
Out of Hell City. So thanks for having me on, man. It was awesome talking to you guys.
All right, brother. Catch you later.
All right, man. Later.
Bye.